So I'll be opening the floor now to questions.
Consider or proceed with the issuance of a rate. What is the acceptable, or what is the, yeah, I think that's the word, acceptable ownership uh, level or ownership requirement for it to be what
Well, actually, under
considered
the
acceptable.
original REIT law,
Yeah.
the minimum requirement, actually, the minimum requirement is 33%. And then in the dialogue that we had with the major players, the acceptable level actually was 40%.
One of the covenant that we have in all the SM Group international issue of bonds, notes. No? One of the covenant is that SM, the C, this SM Group should have a controlling interest, no, while the loan is outstanding. Because nagpapahiram sila ng pera, of course, one of the criteria in bank lending money, aside from your financial statement, etc., they look at the management. No? And if they believe on the management, then they will lend you at a appropriate lending rate. So one of the covenant there is that you should, while the loan is standing, you should control that corporation.
Controlling interest
Yes.
over SM Prime, or controlling interest over the mall?
In any of our major subsidiary.
That's SM investment level going to SM Prime.
Yes. So meaning in all our major subsidiaries, that's the word. So it could be subsidiaries to subsidiaries, but ultimately the SM should have a control.
Oh, okay. Sir, going back to SM Prime again, you mentioned that your China malls are doing or performing very well in the first half, and that at the current rate, SM Prime will build two malls a year. Two or one?
One mall.
One mall a
Yeah,
year
up
in
to
China.
2013, yes.
One mall a year till 2013, and then from there you will, starting 2014, it will be
We'll
at the pace of
probably
two.
start to open 2 malls.
Um, if I'm just gonna follow the question on the REIT, before the ownership, before they came out with the final ownership structure or requirement, SM Prime was planning to create REITs, and was thinking of deploying that money that it will raise from the sale of such instruments. Now that the group is going to forego this option, what happens to that plan of, that money you're supposed to get, you're going to spend somewhere. Now that plan is still there, that somewhere is still there. What will you do to fund that
No,
plan,
we
or are
will-
you scrapping that plan?
We will continue with our programs, given that there are a lot of liquidity in terms of capital raising. No? So what we did actually was that because we are not able to avail of the REIT structure, we just went on borrowing.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about yung sa mining for Atlas. And do you actually plan to consolidate the stakes with BDO? I think BDO has some shares of Atlas. Do you plan to consolidate it into one group? And how do you expect to generate returns from Atlas? Do you expect the dividends to be paid out to you, or is it more of a long-term investment where you just hope to get some capital gains from it?
No, Atlas is we invested as part of our non-core investment. No, so it will not be consolidated because consolidation will require a 50 in control ownership requirement. No? If we own more than 20%, I'm saying if, because right now we own only 17 point something percent. No? If we own more than 20%, then accounting will require you to equitize your investment. No? But below that, it will be carried at cost. Our objective here is a long-term investment, medium long-term investment. Yes, we will be relying on dividends and on capital price appreciation of our dividend stream in the future, of our income in the future.
Morning, sir. I'd like to ask three questions. SMDC, SM Prime, and the banks. For SMDC, the Xiamen condo, is it going to start construction soon? And for SM Prime, just comments on the same-store sales of 7%, pretty high. Last time that was registered, GNP growth was pretty high also at 6 and 8% in 06 and 07. And for the banks, if the trading gains, the trading gains will be sustainable in the second half of the year, or is it just a one-time thing in 2Q?
For the Xiamen condo, I think it's fair to say that we have a team there right now who is doing the evaluation of the way that this should be handled. Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to discuss anything with you now, but probably the next time we meet, I will have more information for you.
Sustainable, given that people are now more confident in terms of the prospects in the economy. If you look at our first half results, rental revenues actually is up 15%. So it's really more people are going to the shopping centers and spending.
I think for the semester we still showed good trading income. We were actually expecting a lesser amount than what we actually registered, and I guess there are certain components there that can be considered as non-recurring. So from our side, we think the second semester would be. We don't expect to make that same amount of money in the second semester. But on a total basis, I think we're running ahead of our original targets anyway. So there's a cushion that we are effectively carrying forward to second semester.
I think what the last 3 quarters that just demonstrated is how volatile that part of the earnings is because of the trends in the interest rates. The fourth quarter dropped so much and it generated very good gains. But what the market giveth in the fourth quarter, it took away in January, and so that resulted in a not so good first quarter. So basically, between the fourth quarter and the middle of the late first quarter and second quarters, basically just went back to where it was. So it's just a wash, basically. You combine the first and second quarter. Going forward, rates are still at record lows, and so I guess most of the banks have taken the view that you don't really expect much from the trading gain side. Whatever you get would be just gravy, and that is why the bulk of the core earnings have been coming from the growth of the loans. Because if you notice, that growth of the loans is also hampered by the very low interest rates. So even if the system is growing, your loans growth is growing 20%, your net interest income, say, growing less than 5%. No? So that's part of the challenge. But hopefully, so the uncertainties in the market driven from external factors like the US and Europe is another reason for us to we are optimistic, but we're also very cautious because we have to be very careful. Thank you.
Just on the plans for the investment, are you planning to expand your investment portfolio? Because now you're just limited to property, banking, and tourism related. You have now investments in Atlas, and that might increase with Banco de Oro owning some more debt papers in the company. But is there any plan to widen the spectrum of investment? Because some other companies are now moving to heavy industries, infrastructure. There's a call for PPP. So what's the plan of the family for SM investments?
so far would like to think that we actually are sticking to our core businesses, which is, it's actually four plus one, which is the newcomer, which is the hotel and resorts group. To the Atlas and possible other investment, we look at it from the investment portfolio under the SMIC group when we see very good opportunities with very good potential and good management. So I'd like to think that so far we're still sticking to our core businesses. Now, if you look at our core businesses, if you look at what's happening with SMDC, being a latecomer, they're really running as fast as they can. In fact, I think their projections are quite aggressive, and they're able to deliver that. In the case of SM Prime, when you see that too, the China story is something that is very interesting. So all told, our core businesses right now, I think they're busy. We have a lot of projects and we have to spend a lot of time taking care of this. All the others, again, if there are opportunities, like in the case of Atlas, where we believe that the value of the company and we believe in management of Atlas, we would consider them on a case-to-case basis, but not to be running the businesses there.
Are you also bringing your expertise, not just the malls, but the other tourism, banking expertise to China as well?
So today we're basically into the mall. Again, if there are opportunities, we might, if it's related to what we can do. But in terms of the retail side, we still have to, we do not believe we can just transfer our retail expertise here to another country. We do know our limitations, but we are open to the opportunities if we believe we will be able to deliver.